So the modders have finally been unleashed onto Warhammer 3 and they've arrived to save the day. I'm going to show you 5 mods that I think will help improve the experience of Warhammer 3, so if you've given up on it for now, maybe one of these mods will bring you back. The first one is Toggle Chaos Realms by Drunk Flamingo. This literally gives you a toggle option at the start of your campaign to enable the campaign narrative or not. It'll be off by default when the mod is active, and this will basically just turn the game into a big sandbox, kind of like Mortal Empires. Upon starting your campaign, you'll be met with a message that Urson falls silent. The promises of your new advisor come to nothing. The god of Kislev falls silent. And then when you get onto the campaign map, you'll notice the Souls UI is gone. It's just plain old nothing up there. You'll still have all of your faction mechanics though, so factions will still function mostly the same. The difference here is just that the rifts will not open anymore, and you don't have to go and get the 4 souls, nor do you have to worry about your enemies getting the 4 souls and then you having to go and deal with them at the Forge of Souls. So you can just build an empire and then push out in whichever direction you like to go and do whatever the hell you desire with no pressure. So yeah, it definitely feels nice to not have to worry about going to get those souls and worrying about the rifts coming every 30 or so turns, meaning you've got to try and close them, although now we have the new protection buildings, so hopefully that won't feel too bad now anyway, but still, it's good not to have to worry about it at all. So if you're looking for just a straight up sandbox experience where you don't have to worry about victory conditions or realms, this could be the mod for you. Toggle Chaos Realms. This next one, Minor Settlement Become Land Battles by Flavius, does exactly what it says on the tin and solves a big issue with the game. Personally, for me, I don't like playing so many minor settlements. It's not that I never want to play them, I just don't want to play them so often, and I want to play more land battles. This allows me to do that. So when you play a campaign with this mod active, you can go ahead and attack minor settlements, and while it might appear like a normal minor settlement battle, as you can still see the supplies and stuff, if you check out the map preview and the scout terrain button, you'll actually see it's a land battle map. So it's basically a mod that forces the AI to come out and attack you rather than staying in the settlement. As you can see on the loading screen, it says the enemy sallies out to fight on the field. So it's basically giving the approach that the enemy has come out to meet you rather than staying in the settlement. Now, I've been having a go on this mod, and I have to say it feels so much better being able to play more goddamn land battles. This is the Total War I love, playing lots of land battles with a sprinkle of other kinds of battles, minor settlements, sieges, ambushes, whatever. Don't get me wrong, I don't dislike those other battles, I just don't want to play so many of them in place of land battles. What's cool about it is that you can still play those kind of battles, you can still play sieges, you attack those, they're still the same, and when you defend minor settlements, you can still choose to defend it in the settlement, so you don't have to sally out, but the AI does essentially. So this mod doesn't completely remove minor settlements or anything, it just removes them for you attacking settlements, not defending them. So if you're sick of playing so many goddamn minor settlements like me, this mod could be the one to save the game for you. And ultimately just turns the game back to Warhammer 2 when minor settlements aren't actually settlements for the most part. Minor settlement become land battles. Check it out. Next, a good old classic, Better Camera Mod by Cam2150. I used to use this in Warhammer 2 and I believe it was in Warhammer 1 as well. As you might expect, it quite simply gives you a better camera than the 2 that Total War offers you. So what exactly does this camera do? Well, first of all, it allows you to go a little bit closer to the ground, which can be cool for getting some good visuals of the units. Now, this isn't that useful for most people, right? This is great for me as a creator. I can get some nice shots from kind of underneath the units and look up at them without going through the ground. It pretty much stops at ground level. You might clip through the floor sometimes when you look down, but hey, you can see what hell looks like. But this can be nice for getting some good angles on the units anyway. But where this is useful for everybody is that it allows you to go much higher. So you can see pretty much the entire battlefield when you're zoomed all the way out. This is zoomed all the way out. And as you can see, I've got eyes on the entire battlefield. I can see all of my army, all of the enemy army, what everybody's up to. And we can just get better control of everything because we can see everything. So the mod just adjusts the maximum camera height, so you can go lower and higher. Pretty much the same thing that people do with the debug camera, where that can go infinitely high or infinitely low, but this puts a limit on it, so it is more like the Total War cameras. Do be aware, this is only really useful in campaign though, and can't be used in multiplayer unless it's in custom battles and everybody in the lobby also has the mod. But really, a useful mod for any campaign player, and I really don't know why this hasn't been implemented officially into the game yet, but there we go. Better Camera Mod. Now for another one that really changes up the campaign gameplay, Victory Conditions Overhaul Realms of Chaos by Wolfie. This basically adds a bunch of victory conditions, some of which are really quite short. The first thing you'll notice is that much like the first mod we looked at, it takes away the Chaos Realms entirely. The Souls mechanic is gone, although I believe that the rifts still appear, so you can travel around with those if you wish, but otherwise you can just get rid of them. Now what it adds is 3 different routes, as they're called, ways to win the campaign. So if we look at the victory conditions, we can see that the normal Forge of Souls are still there, but we can't do that. Instead we get Route 1, United and Indivisible. This objective is to basically take all of the Kislev lands, all of the settlements, all of the provinces, and control it all and unify Kislev. That's it, that's all you gotta do and you win the campaign. Or you could go for Route 2, take out the Legion of Chaos faction and basically cleanse Norska of Norskans basically. Take out all the Norskan factions and you win the campaign. Or you could go for Route 3, which is simply to gather 600 supporters, which basically means just win the political race and you win the campaign. So much shorter objectives, designed to be about 50 to 70 turn campaigns. Maybe you'd push that up to 100 if you want to take your time. But again, this is a really nice thing and the type of thing that I don't know why CA hasn't added yet. Really short victory conditions for those who don't really like long drawn out campaigns where you just snowball and become invincible. These were the kind of conditions I was hoping to see in Warhammer 3, which our modder has delivered. To take a look at some other victory objectives, here's Scarbrands and the routes that he can take. The first one is to ascend in the Great Game and spread corruption across 50 regions. That's regions, not provinces, so 50 settlements. You can see it's at 15 already, so I guess the other factions nearby with core corruption are counting. But yeah, you just have to go around, spread as much corruption as you can, and you win. The second one is fairly easy and maybe a bit short, just gather 20,000 skulls. And the third one is to wipe out all the Slaanesh factions around you. That includes the Seducers of Slaanesh and Nakari, but pretty simple overall. And for the Ogre Kingdoms, what about good old Tons of Fun? His first route is all about making money. Get 500 grand in your treasury and have 2,500 trade income on a turn as well. So it's all about being a merchant, really. Or if you prefer just mashing everyone's face off, you can go for a territory control objective of taking the Mountains of Morn, essentially. Or you can go for a faction-destroying objective of taking out all of the Cathay factions. So these offer you some slightly different ways to play the game, some different things to focus on other than the damn Chaos Realms and Souls. And the icing on top of this cake is that you can not only complete the campaigns quickly, but you can still get the achievements for them. So if you're looking for that sandbox experience in Total War, but you still want some objectives to aim for, this mod could be a good one for you. Victory Conditions Overhaul, have a look-see. And my last recommendation of the day, Tabletop Caps by, again, that intoxicated bird, Drunk Flamingo. This was my favourite unit caps mod in Warhammer 2. I played a bunch of them in campaign, but this one was my favourite, so it's good to see it back in Warhammer 3. So it adds tabletop-style limitations to the army composition that you can create. So here's my Greasus army for the Ogres. And you'll notice my purple and blue gems here. 2 out of 5 I've got of my rare points used, and 6 out of 10 of my special points used. So this comes to recruitment, which units I'm allowed to have, and how many of them. So most cheaper, crappier units will be core units and have a little green gem, which means you can bring as many of them as you like in an army. But where things start to get interesting is with your blue special gems and your purple rare gems. As you can see, these Saber Tusk pack are 1 blue gem, so that takes up 1 of my special points that I'm allowed. The Iron Guts, though, a better unit, take up 2 of those special points, so they're more expensive in terms of points. So that's used up 6 of my 10 special points, so I could get 2 more units of Iron Guts maybe, or 4 more units of Saber Tusks if I wanted to, with the point allowance I have left. And then with the purple gems, the rare units, such as the Stonehorn here, this takes up 2 rare points because it's a big old powerful beastie, right? Well, I can only have 5 of those points, and I'm using up 2, so I could get 1 more Stonehorn maybe, and then something else that only costs 1 rare point, and then that would be it. I'd be capped out on rare units, and I wouldn't be able to have any more than 2 Stonehorns in an army, so it forces you into having a more balanced army, basically. And gives a bit more depth to recruitment and thinking about what units you're going to have in your army for facing all the different factions. It just adds an extra layer to recruitment that isn't really there without any kind of unit cap, and stops you doing anything cheesy or any doom stacks. So it's a fun one if you like to play more balanced armies and you want to be able to have a reason to put a little bit more thought into it. Again, this is another thing I hoped maybe CA would implement into Warhammer 3 and give us the option, because there's plenty of people that like to play Doomstacky and cheesy, and that's fine, but there's also people that like to play more traditional, and we're forced to kind of limit ourselves without mods like this, so would be nice if this actually officially made it into the game, but for now, Tabletop Caps is doing a damn good job of implementing a cap system. So there's 5 mods I think could be worth a look to maybe add some excitement back into the game for you. If you've never used a mod before, it's really easy with the Steam Workshop. And there's loads more great ones on there. I've just picked 5, but there are a whole bunch more that look pretty damn good. And I look forward to seeing what more the modding community brings as well. I'm sure there's going to be some pretty awesome stuff. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the future.